If your hands feel numb, tingly, or like you're wearing invisible gloves you can never take off, your body is trying to warn you about something most people ignore for years. Margaret felt it every single morning for 3 years. Fingers that wouldn't wake up, a pins and needles feeling that crawled from her fingertips into her wrists by afternoon. She was convinced it was just old age settling into her hands. She was wrong. Margaret came to me feeling hopeless. After I showed her 4 simple chair exercises, she buttoned her own blouse without struggling for the first time in 3 years, and it took just 3 weeks. By staying with me through this whole episode, you can reach for the very same results. Today, I am your doctor, and I will guide you through those exact 4 moves to stop the tingling and begin restoring the feeling in numb hands after 60. Every single exercise is done sitting down. You can start the first one within a minute, and you'll want to stay right through to the 4th, because that is the one that finally gave Margaret her hands back. Now, before we begin, if your hands tingle, burn, or go numb at night, type the word hands in the comments. It tells us how many of you are quietly living with this, and it pushes this video out to more people who need to see it. So let me ask the question everyone watching wants answered. Is this just poor circulation, or is something deeper happening? It is much deeper than circulation, and a remarkable study from a leading Japanese university hospital recently showed us exactly what's going on. They studied seniors who suffered from that tingling, burning, glove-like feeling in their hands. What they found was astonishing. The nerves in the hands were not permanently damaged. They had simply gone dormant from a lack of specific stimulation. And here is the truly hopeful part. When these seniors performed targeted hand and arm movements, tests showed they actually grew brand new nerve fiber branches. A sleeping nerve can be woken back up. That is exactly the promise everyone watching needs to hear. We are not just chasing warmth today. We are sending a direct biological signal to help those nerves switch themselves back on. One quick word before we start. This routine is for waking up tired, age-related nerves. So if you live with severe diabetes or you notice any sudden changes, please keep your own doctor in the loop. So how do we prepare the hands before the main exercises begin? We begin by waking the pathways gently. First, sit tall in your chair, shoulders relaxed, both hands resting in your lap. Then slowly roll each wrist 10 times in one direction, then 10 times the other way. This immediately pushes fresh blood down into the hands. Next, gently open and close both hands 20 times, making a soft fist and then spreading the fingers wide like a slow, steady pulse. That is all it takes to tell your nervous system that a change is coming. We are now ready for the first real exercise. Okay, everyone, get ready. Please take us into the first exercise. Exercise 1 is the seated finger raise and spread. If your fingers feel stiff, curled, or disconnected from the rest of your hand, the nerve pathways that control them have gone quiet. This move sends a direct signal straight up those pathways, from your fingertips, through your palm, and into your forearm. Rest both hands flat on your thighs, palms down. Now lift all 10 fingers as high as you can and hold for 3 seconds. Feel the pull across the back of your hand. Now spread those raised fingers as wide apart as you possibly can and hold for 2 more seconds, then lower them slowly back down. That is 1 repetition. We are doing 12. Watch which fingers answer you and which ones stay silent. For most people, the little finger and the ring finger move the least, so give them your full attention on every single spread. Margaret described her hands as 2 stiff mittens every morning. Did this specific move reach her? By the end of the first week, yes. She told me her hands felt less like mittens and more like hands again. Not fully, but enough to notice. And noticing is exactly where recovery begins. The next exercise builds directly on this. Okay, but before we move to the next exercise, I need everyone watching to do something for me. Please tap the like button on this video. Every single tap tells the platform to push this session in front of more people sitting right now with cold, tingling hands and no idea what to do about it. Tap it, and let's keep going. Exercise 2, please show us. Exercise 2 is the seated squeeze and release, and it goes straight after the cold. If your hands stay cold even when the rest of you is warm, the small muscles in your hands and forearms have stopped doing their job. These muscles help pump blood back up your arms. When they sit still for hours, blood pools and your hands are left starved of fresh, oxygen-rich blood. Nerve tissue is the hungriest tissue in the body for oxygen, so when it is starved, the tingling and numbness follow close behind. Take a soft object in one hand. A rolled-up sock or a small ball works perfectly. Now squeeze it firmly, closing your whole hand around it, and hold that squeeze for 2 seconds. Feel the tension travel up through your fingers, your palm, and into your forearm. Now release slowly and let the hand open completely. That is 1 repetition. We are doing 20 on each hand at a calm, even pace, about 1 squeeze every 4 seconds. Think of it as a second heartbeat for your hands. Please, everyone, stay with us right through to the end, because the 4th exercise still coming is the one that finally gave Margaret her hands back, and you truly do not want to miss it. What did Margaret actually feel during this one? This was the first exercise where she felt something shift in real time. By the 15th squeeze, warmth had returned to her right hand, a warmth she had not felt in so long she had forgotten what it was like. That warmth is simply blood arriving in tissue that has been cold and quiet, and for anyone living with neuropathy, it is one of the most hopeful feelings there is. It sounds almost meditative, nothing like the exhausting exercises people usually dread. And that slow pace is not optional. It is the medicine. If you rush this and squeeze too fast, the muscle never fully works, and the blood never truly moves. Slow and deliberate is what pumps fresh blood down into every finger. Now let's look at exercise 3. Okay everyone, get ready. Go ahead. Exercise 3 is seated palm and finger rolling, and it reaches a nerve pathway that most hand exercises miss entirely, the one running through the center of your palm. The band of tissue across your palm is one of the most nerve-rich structures in your whole hand. Years of the same repetitive grips and stiff routines leave it understimulated, and those nerve endings go quiet. You do not need anything special for this. A rolled-up hand towel works perfectly. Place it across your open palm. Now, with your other hand, press and roll it slowly across the palm, from the base of your fingers down to your wrist, pressing gently as you go. You are not stretching, you are stimulating. Search for the spots that feel tight, tender, or completely numb. And when you find a numb spot, stop and hold steady pressure there for 10 full seconds. That sustained pressure gives the nerve a signal it has not received in a very long time. Roll the right palm for 60 seconds, then switch and roll the left. You told me earlier this move also helps with grip and steadiness, which surprised me. It does, and it surprises almost everyone. The nerve endings in your palm connect through a reflex pathway that runs all the way up to your spinal cord, feeding your sense of where your hands are and how firmly they are holding. Wake those endings back up, and your grip steadies, which means fewer dropped cups and fewer fumbled keys. All of that from a simple towel across your palm. When Margaret first tried this, she could not feel the towel against her right palm at all. By the 2nd week, she could. By the 3rd, she could feel the difference between pressure at the base of her fingers and pressure near her wrist. That return of sensation was not a miracle. It was stimulation meeting a nervous system that was still able to answer. And for anyone following along who finds the towel too firm or too soft, I imagine they can simply adjust the roll, looser for a gentler touch, tighter for more pressure. The goal is steady stimulation they can feel, never a sharp wince. This is the one everyone has been waiting for, the 4th exercise, the one that gave Margaret her hands back. Take us through it. Exercise 4 is the seated wrist lift with arm circles, and it ties everything together. If your forearms feel heavy, or your hands seem to switch off after you have been resting a while, the muscles running along your forearm have gone dormant. Those muscles control how your wrist lifts and how your fingers extend. When they weaken, your grip fades and small tasks like turning a key or opening a jar become a battle. These muscles are fed by the same nerves that neuropathy strikes most often, so we are going to wake them directly. Sit tall and rest both forearms on your thighs, hands hanging just past your knees, palms facing down. Now lift both hands upward at the wrist, curling them back toward you as high as you can, and hold for 2 seconds. Feel the muscles working hard along the top of your forearm. Lower slowly. That is 1 wrist lift, and we are doing 15. Then raise your right arm out in front of you and draw 10 slow, wide circles with the whole arm, 5 one way and 5 the other, making each circle as large as you can. Lower it and do 10 more with the left. What if someone feels a strange sensation during this? You might feel a sharp tingling spreading down into your hand, and that is nerve tissue answering the call. It is the nervous system telling you it is still here and still able. Margaret felt it on the third day, a tingling running down her right forearm that was different from her usual neuropathy. It was sharper, more alive. She said it felt like a current rather than a fog. That difference between the dull, heavy fog of neuropathy and the sharp, bright current of a nerve switching back on is exactly how you know the work is reaching the tissue that needs it most. And those arm circles at the end, it looks like they connect everything. The forearm, the wrist, the hand, all in one motion. Are we finished now? That is precisely what they do. And no, we are not finished yet. The circles carry the signal from the forearm through the wrist and out into the fingers, joining the whole pathway of the arm in one continuous loop. By the time you finish them, every part you just woke up is talking to the others again. That is why I saved this move for last. It does not only train a muscle, it reconnects the circuit. Now we settle everything down. Rest both hands flat on your thighs and press them firmly down for 5 seconds, then release completely. Gently massage the back of each hand from the wrist to the fingertips, 10 slow strokes on each side. Finally, shake both hands loosely from the wrist for 10 seconds. Feel the circulation moving through the tissue that was cold and quiet when we first began. Give everyone the simple summary so they know what to do tomorrow, and tell us where Margaret is now. 4 chair moves every single day. The finger raise and spread to wake the nerve pathways. The squeeze and release to drive warm blood back into the hands. The palm roll to stimulate the nerve-rich center and steady your grip. And the wrist lifts with arm circles to fight weakness and reconnect the whole circuit. Do them daily, because nerve tissue responds to consistency in a way it never responds to occasional effort. As for Margaret, she buttons her own clothes now. She holds her morning cup of tea without fear of dropping it. The tingling has not vanished completely. Neuropathy needs steady management, but it has softened so much that it no longer wakes her at night, and her hands feel like her own hands again in the morning. None of that came from a pill or a procedure. It came from 10 quiet minutes in a chair, done every day, until her nervous system remembered how to listen. Everyone, remember this. Your numb hands are not something you simply have to accept. Try these 4 moves today. Tap that like button so another senior lying awake with tingling hands can find this. Hit subscribe and share this with someone whose hands deserve better. And make sure to watch this next episode. Oh, this is a good one. People really should see this. Definitely watch. See you there.